Supreme Court handed down some highly anticipated decisions less than 2 hours ago. The justices upheld state bans on transgender athletes competing in girls' sports. The High Court also upheld birthright citizenship, rejecting President Trump's proposed limits. ABC's Olivia Rubin has all the details on those rulings.
It's a landmark ruling which maintains more than a century of legal precedent in America that babies born on American soil are automatically citizens, regardless of their parents' immigration status. But on the first day of his second term, President Trump signing an executive order to end it, calling it a scam.
They use it for people that come into our country and they walk in and all of a sudden they become citizens.
In a 6-3 decision, the court writing, quote, the framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in the land. We keep that promise today. The High Court also weighing in on an issue dividing the nation, transgender athletes, now ruling that states can exclude them from women and girls sports. The case stemming from 2 teen athletes barred from competing in women's track and field. They claimed it was sex discrimination and a violation of Title IX, the landmark civil rights law barring sex-based discrimination in education programs. One of those teens speaking to ABC about the case.
I've been a girl forever, and playing on the guys' team is going backwards.
And that ruling a major win for President Trump, who campaigned on the issue and has been adamant that transgender athletes should be banned from women and girls sports. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
Joining us now with more on what these decisions mean and how they'll impact you, we welcome Professor Cayce Myers, Director of Graduate Studies at Virginia Tech School of Communication. And thank you, Professor, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's begin with the Supreme Court decision that states may ban transgender athletes in girls' sports. For parents watching right now, what does this change for high school and college athletes across the country?
Well, I think that the ban or the potential ban of that is going to be case by case, depending upon state law. So these were 2 state laws. One, both of them had a similar effect and involvement with Title IX, and that was really the question. Now, if you look at this issue, there's about 25 other states that have similar laws that have been suggested or on the books, and so we may see this be kind of a state-by-state determining issue, and this green lights that, and we may see more state laws emerge around this area, just depending on the politics of those individual states.
Maryland is currently under federal investigation over its transgender student policies. How does today's ruling legally affect that review process?
An additional wrinkle into it, and I think that it is certainly something that people are going to watch how this unfolds within the court systems. You know, you have these Supreme Court cases, and then that establishes precedent, and then there's different arguments that are made around them going forward. So I'd watch this unfold. It is something, again, that was specific to 2 states that had laws on the books around transgender females participating in women's and girls' sports. And again, I think it does reflect a national conversation, a national political topic that President Trump and Republicans have been campaigning on for some time.
So it would be safe to say that you'd agree that this ruling could strengthen the federal government's position in the Maryland case?
It certainly could, and I think I would watch for that going forward.
And as you mentioned, today's ruling directly concerns a case out of West Virginia and Idaho, but as you pointed out, rightfully, it will also affect dozens of other states with similar bans, so we will no doubt be watching the impacts across the country. Now, the other big decision, the court rejected Trump's attempt to limit birthright citizenship. The 6-3 ruling reaffirms now more than a century of legal precedent that babies born on American soil are automatically American citizens. The 14th Amendment was the centerpiece for this case. Your take on how the justices ruled on this one?
You know, this was not a surprising outcome, I think. You know, President Trump had even predicted that he thought the outcome was going to be this. And famously, back in April, he attended those oral arguments. And one of the big things in that was if they were to agree with the executive order,
But you could be right. I mean,
because you have a situation where, people in various statuses, the different ages, how would you enforce this? There's other mechanisms to enforce immigration and maybe visa status or people coming into the United States. But to change this, which had been Supreme Court precedent since the 19th century, would really be a dramatic shift, and I think operationally very difficult.
So as a result of upholding this, are there any practical consequences that you're going to be looking ahead to?
Well, the consequences is that the status quo remains the same. I mean, what we have experienced since the 1880s with that last Supreme Court case that really analyzed the 14th Amendment, that stays in place. What I think shifts maybe is a political conversation going forward around the Supreme Court, particularly around immigration and visas and other mechanisms. And again, the logistics of it were going to be very difficult. And I think the justices during their oral argument really pointed that out.
Professor Cayce Myers from Virginia Tech, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.